Women in Tech, AI for Inclusive Innovation, Road to Success. My name is Dorothy Vernon Brown, and I will be your host for today. I just want to, before we begin, I want to remind you all that the recording for today's session will be on Zoom and you'll have access to that. Before we get started, we would like to acknowledge that the land we are on is a traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Audinasawi, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. And with that said, for this webinar, there is closed captioning that's enabled and transcript that will be available for you. I again want to welcome you all, those of you who are joining us for the first time. If this is your first time, thank you for being here. I would like to tell you a little bit about WINS. WINS, their vision, it was launched in 2018. As you can see, their vision is to eliminate workplace exclusion and discrimination in Canada. It's a nonprofit, and it promotes inclusive policies in Canada's workforce. It is led by the fearless leader and founder, executive director, Dr. Hitu Sood. It is committed to ensuring the creation of more equitable workplaces in which diverse members of Canada's society can flourish. WINS accomplishes this by helping organizations develop comprehensive policies and programs and lead to transformative change. This event is part of Road to Success initiative, which features organized public learning events like this one and highlights diverse professionals' skills and strength in a variety of ways. WINS provides a public platform for diverse professionals as speakers and community of support in which professionals can learn and network with like-minded others. As part of this initiative, WINS offers consulting to employers, government service providers, and other non-for-profits, which aims to empower diverse professionals towards success. And if you need more information on the incredible work WINS is doing, I encourage you to visit their website at winscanada.com. And now, we are ready to have a great discussion with our wonderful panelists on inclusive women in tech. Well, we do have an ally here, and as I've said earlier, I am Dorothy Vernon Brown, and I will be your host today. I'm so excited. I am the founder and owner of AKB Squared Small Business Marketing, where I help business owners, entrepreneurs really save time, avoid burnout using automation and AI strategies. I can be found on all the socials at Dorothy Vernon Brown. My bio is available for your reading. And without further ado, I want to introduce you to our panelists, our esteemed panelists today, Maria Acevedo and Juan Olarte. With that said, I'm going to hand it over to Maria to tell you a little bit more about who she is and what she does. Maria, I think you're muted. So here's what we'll do. In the meantime, Juan, why don't you introduce yourself
on?
Oh,
Sorry.
Maria is with us.
Yeah, you unmuted everyone in the room, so I was struggling with that technology. No worries. Thank you so much, Dorothy. My name is Maria. I'm a Mexican immigrant who made Canada her home for the last 7 years. I have 15 years of experience in UX field and service design, leading efforts way beyond usability, creating digital spaces to make it inclusive and adapted to different cultures, languages, and individuals with different capacities. And now with the AI, there's tons of things to do to elevate inclusion even further. And I will pass it to Juan. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Dorothy. My name is Juan Olarte. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Digitally Accessible, as well as of a new social enterprise called Aliverse. I'm very happy to be here. I've been in Canada for the last 25 years, really working in accessibility, and recently for the last 3.5 years, concentrating on AI. Dorothy, back to you.
Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, you see, we have two powerful panelists. And with that said, let's just dive right into our discussion for today. So, here's what I want to find out. We want a little bit of your backstory. So, Maria and then Juan, can you just tell us, Maria, for you, what was that pivotal moment in your immigrant journey into tech that shaped how you approach AI and innovation today? And what surprised you most?
Yes, definitely one of the moments that changed the way how I see things. It was on my first trip to Canada, maybe 10 years ago in Vancouver, when for the first time I saw a man with limited mobility driving his electric wheelchair and going to the bus, using the ramp, parking himself, and just request the bus stop and continue his journey heading to the Stanley Park with his partner. And for many of us, this might seem normal in the streets of Canada, but for me, where I've come from, that was unique. It's seeing how technology can handle that opportunity to the person to elevate their independence and make them move forward. So with that experience and moving more into innovation, well, that gave me a lot of opportunity to maybe think with more confidence how we can really change people's life in so many different ways and elevating with artificial intelligence. That was just a robot machine, but with AI, there's so many things that can be integrated to make things way simple and even move into different scenarios or situations.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That was so powerful. As simple as that seemed, that was really powerful. That where we see technology, how it can elevate and really create a better quality of life. And I'm really happy you shared that. With that said, Juan, as someone with 25 years plus of advocating for digital accessibility, which we talked or saw a little bit of earlier, and now leading with AI solutions, what drew you to become an ally for immigrant women in tech?
Definitely. So many different things. First of all, obviously, I was raised by a single mom, so it's always been very important. And also, when it comes to underserved communities, whether it's going to be people with disabilities or women in tech, I understand sometimes the obstacles we have to go through or people go through, and knowing that it is difficult sometimes for women to get into the tech ecosystems. I want to make sure I do what I can to try to provide information as well as any kind of opportunities for women to really succeed.
Well, thank you for seeing that, and clearly your life story has impacted your work right now. There's a question I also have for you. How have you experienced visual impairment, and how has that shaped your perspective on inclusive technology? We've seen with Maria her experience here 10 years ago in Vancouver, how that practically applies to one's life. I want from your experience, your visual impairment, how that now impacts your perspective on inclusive technology.
So we're going to have to like pretty much break it into two main actions in there. Growing up back in Colombia, either you have a disability, or I mean, if you're blind, you have a disability, but if you're not blind, you don't have a disability. For instance, me, I'm visually impaired, meaning I have some vision. However, I was not able to really access the resources that other people who were fully blind were able to do. Fast forward 20 years, I came to Canada, and then I understood what assistive technology was, and really it opened a world of different avenues for me in terms of being able to work, contribute to society, and to a degree also the advantage of the internet and how it was changing lives for people with disabilities. So assistive technology has really helped me gain access. And the same way, other type of assistive technologies are helping people gain access and have equal access to information. Now, when it comes to I believe it's forever going to change the lives of everybody, especially for those ones with disabilities, as long as they know how to use it. In my opinion, AI is going to enable us to better contribute to the world as long as the AI solutions are accessible, and B, people with disabilities know how to interact with it.
Well, thank you so much. And that was pretty powerful. And it brings to mind what that whole issue of how it's going to fundamentally change how we access, how we see, how we walk through this world, not only in work, but in our personal lives. So with that, those highlighting those journeys, I want to speak to Maria. How do you think immigrant women bring something unique to tech innovation in Canada now that you're here? And what that does that what are others not seeing or appreciating when it comes to this unique perspective that immigrant women bring to tech?
I think we are playing an amazing role here because as a woman, and I'm gonna read a quote from a actress that from the states that I found that we as a woman we are not just a special interest group. We are just half of the population of the world, and we are constantly moving. We are moving to different countries. We're moving to different cultures, and every time we move, we travel with our cultural background. We learn to
Mhm.
adapt to circumstances and new environments. So if that doesn't call innovation, so tell me what it is. And all the time balancing back our roles, work, expectations in society, etc. So that makes us a very creative and active problem solvers. And of course, contributing with what doesn't work. In this case, in the tech or technology, it's what we call it innovation and also help us to move forward to help others around us. So that's very, very important to say in the way how we play in this game. And well, I'm a bilingual English Spanish, so my opportunities that I not only communicate things in one language, if not, I can spread it in way more ways to communicate this information. So that's what, as an immigrant woman, I can share into the innovation piece.
But thank you so much for sharing that. I love it. We are not a special interest group. And I love that we bring, right? That we bring all of ourselves, our being, to the work that we do. And for you, Juan, through your accessibility work, you've seen how technology can exclude people. I think you alluded to that earlier. So, what similarities do you notice between the barriers that people with disabilities face and the challenges immigrant women experience in tech? What similarities do you see or differences?
I will have to say it's really access to opportunities. Sometimes
Mm,
people with disabilities, as well as people, as well as women, are going to have barriers really trying to enter the workforce or being able to be taken seriously. And that's why it's really, really important for me to help both groups understand and contribute to the conversation and how they can actually succeed in a specific work line. But definitely the barrier is going to be of perhaps at some points not being taken as seriously as they should be.
right, right. Well, I'm so glad, and it appears to me, based on our conversation here, that AI is now opening the floodgates for more opportunities, whether that it's special or non-special interest group, I like to call, or peoples with varying degrees of abilities. And it's almost like it's leveling the playing field. We're going to be at ground zero, it appears to me. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to ask you, and in your responses to me, what perspective do you both wish more people understood when it came to inclusion, when it came to accessibility, and how this now will impact? I'll go to you, Maria, first, ladies before gentlemen, and then I'll go to Juan. So just let me know, what do you think, what perspective you wish more people understood when it came to innovation, accessibility, and inclusion?
I would say that one of the key points is like people used to think that it's only for a few people who might be just targeting one corner, and they're the people who might be affected in different levels. But the more I studied about human being, and I would say we are in a core moment in our society where everyone is looking at the real human aspects and identify and honor, not well honor, but also acknowledge. Sorry, that's the word, that our differences, our uniqueness, etc., and how those play in the society. So I work a lot in the accessibility field, and when people say like, no, it's just for a few people, and I just look on my left, look on my right, look on the front. All people might have different circumstances and challenges that they might have. Our bodies are not perfect, our minds are not, and even the
Mm-hmm.
society we move, it's changing, and that also forces us to continue changing and build a new integration in our community. So I would say it's not just a few, it's human being the native how we should be looking at.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, at the end of the day, as humans, we want there are some basic rights and basic experiences we all should have, and that should not be just for one group or the other. And from your perspective, Juan, what do you wish more people understood?
Yeah, I echo what Maria was saying. Really, it's going to be that of everybody at one point in their lives may experience some type of a disability.
Mm-hmm.
Also, as people age, they're also going to acquire some disabilities, or even if you may like break your arm, you may have a temporary disability. So, reality is really for them to have empathy, accessibility doesn't mean it's going to completely have to be super expensive or it's not going to be able to be done, but really is thinking of what and how we can provide equal access to information for people of all abilities and how we can help them contribute to society or interact online or with different resources.
Great. So that's what so your through line, and what I'm hearing from Maria and from you, that through line is access for people with all abilities. With that said, just a quick one. How do you, quick 30 seconds, how do you think thinking differently, changing the mindset about how we think about inclusion and AI, how does that become a competitive advantage? Quickly, 30 seconds for you, Maria, and for you, Juan. Just think of how does that become a competitive advantage? Thinking differently about some of these issues that we have.
One.
I want to go first? Sure. So I think right now we're at a pivotal time when it comes to fourth industrial revolution, and AI is really changing the ways we're going to view the world. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to accessibility and inclusion, I think it's super important for people to understand how to use it. One thing is having access, different models, but also how you can actually utilize it and how it's going to shape the way you contribute to the world. I think that's super important. Once you get those two things ready, you're going to be able to be out there and see how you can contribute to society.
Right. Maria?
And complementing this part is how we gonna make AI works for us. A lot of I've been testing a lot of AI data, and things might be good, some might be values that might no longer represent the current perspectives of the um, time we are living right now. And
Mm-hmm.
also, it's our duty to train AI as a machine to work for us, for our needs, for individuals, for the diversity ways of thinking or identity. Everything is changing, and we have the responsibility to feed that information correctly.
Great. Thank you, Maria. And that brought to mind the fact that so often I think we miss the message that these technologies should work for us as humans and not the other way around, right? And I think that has to be when we're thinking about when we are training these models and when we're using the AI, that it needs to work for the society at large. These robots must serve humanity at the end of the day, no matter what. I think that. So let's change the vibe a bit. I want to talk about or the industry that you're in, the landscape and the opportunities. So building on the unique strengths, Maria, I'm going to talk to you first. Um, let's consider the current AI landscape. What opportunities do you see for women in tech right now? I think you probably alluded to it earlier. And I want to find out from you, I want to pick your brain a bit about what developments or trends in AI are you most excited about?
Yeah. Definitely, I have seen from the time we are living right now, and I've been looking to be part of it, where women are more included into the tech piece. Since I joined my career as a from student to professional, I saw more women being be part of this journey and changing the way how they participate in the roles. And moreover, now with the AI, I've seen a lot of organizations or even other female members, not only women, but female identified, that bring courses that help people for similar groups to learn about it. And one more thing that I guess Juan mentioned, like affordability for this kind of technologies, knowledge is also needs to be affordable in terms of
Mm-hmm.
cost and availability. So most of the content I've been seeing is free or lower cost. So that also helps a woman to a family member or a woman in different situations to being able to access to that information. So that's something that is changing a lot and make them part of the workforce for sure, and innovative minds.
Yeah, that's a great point that we sometimes overlook, the cost of access. So the cost of access widens the usage and brings and solves that problem. For you, Juan, what opportunities do you see for women in tech right now, and what areas or trends are you most excited about?
Yeah, so I see a lot. And basically, again, AI is changing everything. You no longer have to be a full-on specialist in a specific field for you to be able to create. For instance, if you want to create an application, you can use vibe coding. And yes, you can use a system like ChatGPT or
Mm-hmm.
Cloud where you have to pay, but also there are free resources like DeepSeek that is going to allow you to do those things as well. So one thing for sure is going to be access, but the next one is going to be how you can actually utilize even free resources to create your own application. So what I really want to convey to people is that right now you have an opportunity to create anything you want to, but you also have the opportunity to learn anything you want to with AI. As long as you know how to prompt it, get the information from it, you can do anything, really level up. And that's not only going to be for women entering the tech ecosystem, but also for people with disabilities. Learn how to use it, learn the capabilities, and it's changing every single day. But learn how to use it, and really the sky is the limit in terms of what you can do.
Thank you so much for raising that point. As you were talking, it brought to my mind, I would say to my son, if you can read, you can cook. So it sounds to me like if you can read, you can, and you're open to learning, and you can pivot from being fearful of the technology into being opening up your imagination to what AI can do for you, that we all can have a seat at the table and have a conversation. So thank you that is such a great and powerful point, that once we are open, that there is no, well, I like to say there's no excuse, because everything can be figured out, one, and everything there is a technology. The only caveat I would say, always fact check. always verify whatever comes out of those AI. Don't take it as gospel. Okay, people, don't take it as gospel. But those are really great points. And thank you for pointing that out. So now we're going to talk a little bit about, we're going to move from those opportunities because we know when things are new and with these technologies, there are biases as well, right? So let's talk a little bit about the biases. So there are opportunities and now there are challenges. So we've heard about AI biases in, you're in a field, we know it, from recruitment tools to facial recognition failures. Maria, from your experience, what specific bias patterns are you seeing that impact immigrant women or just women on a whole?
Yes, and I have an excellent example for that based on a project I worked a few years ago. It was a chat assistant. When I first worked in that conversational chatbot, it was to hold simple conversations and process information. And when we were given the personality and given the name of our little Frankenstein at that
Mm-hmm.
time, we noticed in my research that most of the assistants had female names or voices. And in that research, what I found it was those were tied up to stereotypes where women being seen as secretaries, note takers,
Mm-hmm.
and support staff. Roles that the society might have labeled as female. And another surprising thing was that the users said that they might trust more in that tool who carries those kind of characteristics. Even in the report, we try to keep it a neutral identity. It's natural for the people, for a human being to define gender personality to any system. And well, today we can see that we still so many assistants with female voices, these nice avatars that they look very attractive for some people. And of course, that opens a lot of conversations about what needs to change, and it keeps to keep reinforcing a bias instead of changing to a new narrative.
That's a great point about the stereotypes. You're right. Assistants as women, but also on the converse too. We've heard a story of the when people are applying the AI for anything in tech, the tool can throw out tend to gravitate towards anything that sounds like men names or so on. So here we have assistants as women, but if you are tech, then you're male. For you, Juan, in terms of your accessibility biases, how do accessibility bias and AI intersect with other forms of discrimination? What have you found, if any?
Yeah, so I think it's really going to come down to the training data and how different systems are going to be used. So right now, a lot of the interactions we have is going to be through that of a chatbot where you're going to go ask a question and Dorothy, like you said, you have to make sure that you double check. There are some things that we need to be able to do to make sure that that's properly done. Meaning I have to give it a personality, I have to give it a specific set of prompts, and I have to train it with the correct information so it actually doesn't hallucinate. Regardless, you still need that oversight to understand whether or not it is providing you the correct information. I think the biggest problem is going to be once that we start moving into more of an agentic type of model where
Mm.
you're not really going to be asking to, hey, question, give me the answer, but rather it's going to be, hey, this is my problem. Please make sure you do A, B, or C. Give you an example. Let's say you have an AI assistant that is going to be an HR representative. That AI is going to be in charge of going through all the different resumes and trying to identify the perfect fit for a specific role. Now, the training data that was supplied for the specific role may say, I want you to, this person has to be able to perform the work in A, B, or C manner, and it's going to have to do it. It's going to have to travel. I don't know, 50%, 60% of the time. Now, based on that specific, based on those requirements, it may say, "Oh, I'm going to disqualify maybe people who have disabilities, because it's going to be difficult for them to travel, not understanding how they do it. Or it may
Mhm.
say, I don't want women that are between the age of A and B because maybe they're going to be starting a family or things like that, right? So when it comes to the training data and those specific biases, we have to be very, very, very careful in terms of how we're going to instruct the AI to perform a specific task. Once then we have moved beyond the just the answering questions, but rather doing a specific task for us.
Great. And again, it comes, once you were talking, to me, it was the human element in all of this, right? Because it's the human, that's a person behind training that data and how they do it that needs to create that awareness. And so it seems to me there needs to be training again to think about and an expansion of how we think about inclusion and diversity, even in training that data.
But
Um,
so sorry, and even with that, we have to be very, very careful, right? Because we may want to exclude specific population, but when doing that, we don't want to exclude other third or other portion of the population either, right? I think
right.
when I a few years ago when they were first training their model, right? They went a lot into diversity, which is great, right? But to the point where the information was also going too much into one side, right? We have to be careful as well. We need to find a balance. At the end of the day, we should all be equal and live in peace, right? No matter gender, race, sexual orientation, disability, we're equal, right? And we all deserve equal opportunities.
Yeah, great. Well said. For you, Maria, where have you seen the cost of not having diverse voices in AI development?
Perhaps I've seen it in, for example, I am a creative in the creative field, so I run a lot of testing with illustrations and creating fun things on those Chat GPT or Perplexity tools, Gemini, etc. And one thing I have seen a lot is the way how women is represented, women and other groups
Hmm.
uh, in terms of ethnic backgrounds. When I ask to create an image of multicultural group hanging out, everyone is all the females are thin, fair, and long, straight hair. I was like, yeah, but my group is a little bit more mixed, or men only beard and very handsome looking characters. So that's where I come again, like in terms of training AI to really represent people. I think I'm just talking about how an image can really change the identity of someone that needs to be represented. But we can translate this to either other industries. For example, the healthcare, there is a lot of changes happening in this field. Um, AI, I think there's going to bring a lot of connection with the information and bringing data that hasn't been even recorded or shown to represent, for example, the diverse problems that the woman and women in different ethnicities also might have. We are not the same, even as humans based out our location. We used to change and adapt to our environment. So that also gonna change a lot and bring in a lot of opportunities to reinvent the way how this information is gonna help for people, for women
Great.
in this case.
Thank you so much, Maria. I mean, we could go on, but we're almost coming to the end of time now, and we're got to get to our Q&A section. So, if the audience, I'd like to see from get some feedback from the audience. So, for those of you here, if you have any questions for the panelists, I'm going to ask you to drop it in the chat right away so we can get to it. So we have enough time to answer those questions and get you back to your lives on time. So I'm going to ask you to drop the whatever you have, any questions you have for the panelists in the chat. And while you do so, I'm going to do a lightning round, just 30 seconds each of you. Maria, if I want you to just consider one concrete action that anyone here in the audience or who will listen to the replay, what's one action that you would recommend today, and why when it comes to AI and accessibility and innovation and immigrant women? So, and then I'll come to you, Juan. You have 30 seconds, Maria.
All right, what actions can take right now is keep using AI and spread the word to teach other people how to use it. That's one of the core things that as individuals, as a woman, we can do, educate our peers, right? Because that might leave people out of the knowledge to expand their opportunities. And the other one is keep testing AI. As I mentioned, there's still a lot of bias that needs to be worked. I've been before this webinar, I was testing different prompts and see what kind of bias ChatGPT might bring with immigrant woman intake, and it was very interesting to see those. And I asked, where in the world you found this information? Where is your data? And that's where we have the responsibility to feed it with the right representation that we want to be seen, and highlight it, share it, open the forums and communities where people can help each other to change the narrative. And that's one of the things I must say. Support each other and help to change the narrative.
Thank you. And for you, 30 seconds, Juan, as we try to close out this section, and watch for any question that's coming in right now.
Correct. Really educate yourself on how to use AI, really concrete, understand a portion of what you do on a day-to-day basis for your job. Understand what the process is, really write it down, and then go and talk to AI. How can I optimize this, or how can I make it better and faster? That itself is going to be great school and a learning experience.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, can you believe it says all good things must come to an end? We're almost out of time. I see there are no questions right now from the audience, but it doesn't end here. When you leave here and you're reflecting on the conversation, feel free to reach out to anyone that's on this panel and wins. They'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. And at this time, before we end off, I want to remind you all that on Tuesday, the 26th of October, that's next month, which is coming up next week, WINS is hosting another event just like this. It's called Building Accessibility into Your Organization, from Maturity Models to Everyday Practice. Maybe we can drop the link in the chat. The link is on the screen. If you're not able to catch that, you can also go to winscanada.com. That's their website, or you can go to their LinkedIn for more information. And with that, we would like to thank you all for joining us today. I hope you've had a wonderful time having discussion about women in AI, immigrant women in tech, AI for inclusivity. As I've said earlier, you can connect with WINS on LinkedIn. You can follow, you can subscribe for their newsletter, and all their handles are online. And the final thing is, yes, you can just you've got WINS Canada. And the final thing we want to ask you, please take part in the 2025-26 survey, Understanding Economic Disparities. They've really put a lot of time and effort and money, of course, into this survey, and they would love to gather your responses so we can have an inclusive report that reflects all voices. With that said, I just want to thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation, but at least you had one key takeaway from our discussion today. You can connect with WINS online, on their website, on their socials. And the last thing is, please remember, if you can, be part of the conversation, the part of the survey, understanding economic disparities, so all voices can be at the table. With that said, thank you all. Have a great rest of your day. And I'm Dorothy Vernon Brown. And thank you, Maria. And thank you, Juan, for such an insightful conversation. And to
Thank you
the
so much.
Wings team, Dr. Hitu Sood, thank you for putting this together. Mike, tech controller, thank you for being part of this. And for all of you who joined us here today and those who will rewatch the replay, have a great rest of your day and continue to use AI. It's here to stay. Goodbye, everybody. Have a
Bye bye,
great rest of
everyone.
your day.
Hello. Bye bye.